Hello, everyone. Welcome to Analytics Are For the Nerds, a comedy dynasty football podcast. We are 125 days away from NFL training camp. Let's go.
Pick it up, pick it up, pick it up, pick it up. You see the drippy, I'm fitted up. Hop in my car and the giddy up. Secure the bag, yeah, I get the
film festival. It's just a golf clap, right? They don't actually give you like a real clap. I feel like it's very, high society. They're not going to give you
Yeah, it's like a queef clap, like
I'm never gonna get that image out of my head. Queef
like that Moana.
Very clear 101 in this biggest foot in the mouth draft. And the 101, it's very clearly Rex Ryan, because that guy has definitely put some feet in the mouth.
That's so good.
100%. Guy loves feet, his white feet.
Big feet.
Lots of feet in
Little
the mouth.
feet.
I'm sure.
So many feet.
Long live Dolly Parton.
Hold on, I gotta look up how she
Is not
is.
you're looking? Wait, do you not know who Dolly Parton is?
No, I know who she is. I'm just trying to see what she looks like now.
She's still with us.
No, I want to see what she looks like now, because like 10 years ago I would have. Oh, I still would. 100% still would. Absolutely. How old is she? She's got to be like 80, right? Are you judging me? I can't see you because I'm looking at Google.
That ticker. Let me see.
You're
And
judging.
the double mustache and that is fucking gross. So welcome.
I do want to be clear, though, that I have earned one, and Lou is depressed. There's a big difference. Lou is still trying to convince 16-year-olds he's cool, and they keep telling him they don't want weed from him. They can get it from anywhere.
Hey.
Wow. Thanks for doing that clip of just weird stuff, everyone. Welcome to Analytics for Nerds. How are we doing?
Excited for a fun show tonight. I feel like we haven't had two weeks right now since our last show. We're all refreshed. We've had a few bad weeks, and we're ready. We got a fun guest. I'm excited.
Yeah, not to brag, I did have pneumonia while we were gone. Sadly, here I am. But I was at the Bandits game last week, and somebody came up to me and was like, "You look so thin. You were so," like, she was saying that I looked obese like a couple weeks ago, and I was like, no, I just am dehydrated. So I'm a little bit. I have no self-esteem anymore. So let's see how this week goes.
You got the clavicle out though, so that's
you.
you never. It is looking. I will say this. I am not gonna help your body just for what's the word, but it does look a little bit skeletorish today. It does look a little extra bony.
Thank you. I also am wearing Caucasian shirt color. I don't know why I'm doing that. That's probably not a good look, but I'm glad I look very sick. So anyway, welcome. And then Ryan, you have your lovely Sabres jersey on. You've got a little Bills action. Louis and I had a comedy show this weekend. Ryan, you didn't show up, and that might be for a good thing.
Did I miss out on a good time, or
it just wasn't our crowd. It was a lot of older people in South Buffalo. Turns out they did not want to hear some of my dirtier stuff. But then I gave them, they did not love the dirty stuff until the end. And then I said, hey, I'll give you an option. You can take the cleans. I'll give you a clean closer. Or do you want the dirty closer? And then they all clapped for the dirty closer. Not for nothing. That one did eat. But they weren't ready. And it's a weird crowd, weird room, weird energy. But sure, sometimes that happens in comedy. And I got to hang out with Allie. That's always fun.
Yeah, it was good times. It was fun. All right. That was a very boring weekend. Apparently we all had. So we're going to have a very exciting guest today. I was going to give a big exciting thing, everyone.
That's all we need. That's all we need.
Look at you.
Bring me in the chat. No introduction needed. This is awesome. What's up,
all
guys?
Right. What do you feel about the Caucasian shirt color? Should I have gone with a normal color?
Honestly, I think I was too distracted by the dogs in the background. They're going to town on each other.
They are still going at it. I'm mortified. I'm a terrible mother. Look at me. No one else has dogs that are licking each other inappropriately? No? Okay. Well, welcome to, are you in Buffalo right now?
I'm not. I'm still in Los Angeles. We're trying to figure out housing situation. So coming kind of back and forth for the next few weeks until we get ready for OTAs. But for now, and trying to enjoy the one cloudy day here.
Oh yeah, good for you.
Yeah, trying to get myself acclimatized. So clouds came over, overcast day. I was like, you know what? This is how the people of Buffalo are feeling. This is how Western New York's going to be. Got to get ready for it.
I'm really excited for you to get a sinus infection. I really hope it's a good.
I was going to say, I mean this with all due respect, but fuck you. It snowed here today. I'm sorry that you had to deal with some clouds, but it snowed here today.
Hey, I've got Canadian blood in me, so that snow's gonna be no issue.
Yeah. Well, you know what? Let's not. That takes up too much stuff. But we want to start off by asking you some. This isn't going to be your normal podcast where we're asking about blue cheese or ranch. I know you've done the little buffalo, which let me just again commend you for. It's so cool that you came in, not just doing our podcast, but I've seen you do the rounds this past week. Not too many guys are doing that, man. So, let me commend you on that. You've said, I'm pretty sure you're saying yes to everybody. If you fucking said yes to this, you definitely are saying yes to everything.
Well, here's my thing. I'm a football junkie. So in the off season, a couple of weeks go by, and if I'm not playing about football, I want to be talking about football. I want to be joking about football. I just need football in my life. So this is a good way to sort of scratch that itch for the next few weeks. Kind of do the rounds until we head over to OTAs. But if there's an opportunity to talk ball and whatever's tangentially related to football, I'm in.
All right, go Argonauts, right?
Yeah, absolutely. All 12 guys of them.
I know. So we're going to do a little couple questions. You can feel free to just go if you don't want to answer. But does anyone want to go first? And also feel free to ask us anything. I know you are from originally Toronto. You have family still there. So you are a Western New Yorker anyway.
Yep.
So we're excited to have you. And should I go with first question? You want question number one?
Sure.
Yeah, let it rip.
Okay. This could be for everyone, but Mike, is Miss Rachel hot?
You got to give a little bit of background here, but
all the parents listening and watching, Miss Rachel is a great advocate for children television. What is she?
You know what? She's mom hot, so it's an appreciation more than anything else. They're doing everything in their power trying to raise us former Bills. So she's mom hot, and that's that's as good as it gets.
That's great hot, yeah.
Yeah.
We just earned a crush from Ryan.
You already know how Ryan and I.
Oh, look at him.
Ryan and I are.
Oh yeah, we weren't about to tolerate any Miss Rachel slander. It was parents of ourselves here. So all right, so I was doing some research, getting to know Mike Hoecht before the show, and Hoyt. Sorry, excuse me. I went through that and still screwed it up.
Yeah,
but anyways,
all the letters in the middle are silent, so it's the most complicated last name in the world because it should be a ch or a k, but and ends up just being Hoyt, and nobody ever gets it right.
All right. Well, I contributed to that too. That's all right. So
wait a second. Wait. Stop. Time out. Sorry. I gotta say this. Ryan literally came into backstage like 20 minutes ago and goes, "Guys, you do know how to pronounce his name, right?" And fucked it up first is amazing. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
All right.
The best part about the last name is anytime you have to, you check in at a hotel desk, you have to explain it to them, and they're like, "All right, let me spell it. Hoe. Hold on, I'm still going. CHT." And you really have to let them finish the sentence. And every once in a while, you'll be HOE, and they look up at you, and be like, "What are you going on about?"
All right. Well, so Mike Hoyt, as I was saying, I did some research and saw you were from the Toronto area, so I figured you were probably a Leafs fan growing up, and I was going to make fun of you for that, but I'm a Sabres fan, so I honestly have no legs to stand on. But I was watching one of the introductory interview, and I think you mentioned when you first were about to sit down that it had almost happened last year. Were you talking about potentially signing with the Bills last year as a restricted rights free agent?
Yeah, so how that kind of came about is I was a restricted free agent, and then so I was going into free agency, didn't necessarily know if the Rams were going to tender me. I think it's sort of at the beginning, their plan was to not tender me. So that's like, all right, if they are not going to tender you, you're kind of on the open market. So you're flirting with all the other teams out there, and was definitely doing some heavy flirting with the Buffalo Bills. And then I think it was like 3 hours before the deadline, the Rams changed course and they're like, you know what, we're actually going to tender you, and so you're coming back to Los Angeles. And so there was definitely some flirtation going on with Buffalo last year, but then the Rams came in and they were just like, nope, we need you back for next year. So yeah, it almost happened last year, but now I'm just thankful that it eventually happened and I get to come home.
That actually leads me into like my first question is that I'm sure with everything, the team being good, the proximity to your hometown, all that stuff, Buffalo had to be, no one's going to believe you either way if you're like, they were number one on your list, but they had to be in your top few, I'm sure, like on your wish list. Did you have any like, oh, hell nah teams on your list? Like, and you don't got to name names or teams. Was there a list of being
Aaron
like,
Rodgers
I don't even want to hear?
No, I mean, honestly, kind of going through free agency, you sort of have a list of like, this is where I fit, this is where I don't. But look, guys, it's still the NFL. It's still every single roster that you go to, every locker room is filled top to bottom with the best players like in the world at what they do. And there's superstars on every team, and every team has the salary cap and is like spending big money on guys. And so, if anything, if I was gonna go to a place that wasn't good, I would take it as my responsibility to begin to right the ship and to be able to because back to your least question, how sick it is, how as bad as they've been, how sick is it going to be when they do finally win it and all of Toronto burns to the ground. So I think it's just like a competitor. You almost like relish that opportunity if given that when put into that spot, they're saying, hey, you're part of this team that's going to turn this around. Now, thankfully, I don't have to deal with that at all. And it's pretty sweet to come into like, a team that's already contending and making moves on the defensive line, and Josh Allen winning the MVP, and just like a loaded offense, loaded defense, good culture, great fan base, like good history. And it's a really, really fun place to be. So as much as, that opportunity would have been cool to be a part of, I don't know, turning something around, it's also pretty sweet to walk into a really, really good team, similar to walking into the Rams when we go divisional round in the next year, my first year on the active roster, win the Super Bowl. So, obviously winning's really fun, and that's priority number one. And I think the Buffalo Bills are going to be doing a lot of winning next year.
Amen. All right, Mike, besides this question right now, what's the most annoying question you've been asked since signing Bill?
That's a great question, actually. I don't know. I honestly feel like people are like always trying to figure out like where I'm at. Are you East Coast? Are you West Coast? Are you, back in Toronto? Like, so I'm very light on my feet. I'm in a furnished apartment right now. I don't own anything other than a 6 foot by 6 foot beanbag chair from my very first apartment. And so it's going to be, no, it's one of the Love Sack ones, but no free ads. Yeah, and I mean, my first apartment when I like first moved out here, it was the classic like guy apartment meme that you see where it's just like an 80-inch TV and a giant beanbag chair and like one fork, one knife, and that's all we got. And honestly, I lived like that longer than I probably should have, but it was pretty fun. I was coming out here, practice squad guy. No idea if I was going to like make it on an NFL team. I was just like, all right, beanbag chair, TV, iPad to watch film. Like I've got all my needs set. I'm good.
Yeah. And your laundry is probably impeccably folded, and then just your laundry basket, right? Yeah.
There's no laundry because you just, as the same way as freshmen in college, when you're a rookie in the NFL, you're just decked out head to toe in all team issue gear, and you just throw it on your loop and they wash it for you. Yeah, there's not a lot of laundry going on as a 22-year-old living in, California on an NFL practice squad for the first year.
Yeah.
I'm just laughing at the image of like Mike just pushing down a cart full of laundry to his closest laundromat his rookie year.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thankfully it wasn't that bad.
Rye, you got a note?
Yeah. So I saw that your first sack was the strip sack against Drew Lock late in the game. Do you have a sort of a favorite sack, favorite play? Obviously Super Bowl run. Anything that stands out to you?
I don't know, like there's obviously been a lot of good ones, and the football answer is the very Bill Belichick, the next one, but I'll give a more colorful answer than that. In it was 2022, kind of our season from hell for the Rams, because Matthew was hurt, Cooper was hurt, Aaron Donald was hurt. That was the year that we had John Wolford and Baker Mayfield come in and play quarterback for us. And we played the Raiders on a Thursday night game, and it was kind of like I think it was like my third game playing outside linebacker. And, they're obviously an NFL team. They knew that. And so they're running reverses at me and boot shallows and, same side toss, all the like hardest plays at an outside linebacker. And my head is spinning. I'm getting gash. I feel like I have no idea what's going on out there and trying to learn this new outside linebacker position on the run. Thankfully, we get the ball back. I think we were down 6 or something. And this is Baker Mayfield's been on the team for 48 hours. And, he just throws an absolute rope down to Van Jefferson on the sideline, catches it for a touchdown. Rams go up, and then the Raiders have one last possession. And it wasn't necessarily a sack, but me and Leonard Floyd ran a really nice stunt game to, cause the pressure. And I think Taylor Rapp actually picked it off in that game. So, we'll have to talk about that one. That might not necessarily be a sack, but just watching like the pure joy of a sideline to close that game out, with a season that had just gone horribly wrong. We have Baker Mayfield, who's been on the team like 36 hours and just dicing people. It was just a really, really fun primetime game to be a part of, and like really starting to give you that feeling of like, no matter how bad a game's going, no matter like how many plays you screw up, like it's still a team sport. There's still guys on your team, and there's still these amazing athletes that, have got your back. And then, at the end of the day, when it comes down to who has the ball last, we pick the ball off. We're good to go.
Man, it is going to be great in like 10 years. Like the conversations between guys like, hey, remember when Baker Mayfield played for the Rams? Like that one random ass end of the season before, after Carolina and before Tampa, like that.
Yeah.
That was a pretty cool. All right. Thanks for that. That's cool.
All right. This kind of ties in with the whole Leaf Sabres kind of early on. How bad did you have to suck at hockey for you to leave your national sport and say, I want to play football? Was hockey just not in the cards for you, or what?
So I was growing up in Ohio at the time, and it was right around 8th grade. And my brother, I think, was a junior in high school. And, we were both doing football in the fall, and then he was doing hockey and wrestling. I was doing hockey and basketball. And then I was doing baseball in the spring, and I think he was doing like spring lacrosse or something. So my dad's night consisted of, as soon as work was done, he was picking up my brother, dropping him off, picking me up, dropping me off, then picking my brother up and dropping him off. And he was just driving. And so he's like, all right, you're picking one sport per season. And so the overlap there is the winter sports. And it kind of came down to I had to choose basketball or hockey. And unfortunately, in Southwestern Ohio, all of my friends played basketball, and not many of them played hockey. And also, hockey practice was at 5 a.m. Basketball practice was at 7 p.m. I chose the latter, and so as much as it sucks to go against the Canadian heritage, but in another life, I would have been a stud left winger for the Leafs. If we continue to go down that path, but I like to think that we made a good choice.
Yeah.
I will say also, Louis, remember the national sport of Canada is lacrosse and Buffalo.
I know. Sorry, Allie is the local in-game host for our local Bandits, local lacrosse team, Buffalo Bandits, which I'm sure you'll get a chance to go down and check out.
Absolutely, the sport of the future.
It's a lot of fun.
Yep.
Well, they also said Dippin' Dots were the ice cream of the future, and I'm not too sure.
Yeah, that's a great point, actually.
We're going to clip that the Bandits, that lacrosse is a sport of the future, and when Ryan asked you about sacks, we're gonna be like, Ryan, why do you? All right, so let's keep talking sports. On a scale of 1 to 10, Mike, how much do you hate when people take photos with you and being like, "Oh, I've got a football player next to me," and then they do that weird point, like they're like this, like, "Hey, I'm with," like they do that, like yeah, you're in the photo, they're like, why? Does that bug you? Like, is that so? That's so on a scale of 1 to 10. How annoying is that?
Honestly, it hasn't been an annoyance, but now that you bring it up, it does happen often, and I feel like I should just start like pointing back to them and be like, "This guy,"
So weird.
Well, because I mean, people always throw up like peace signs or like thieves or LA. We had like the
Yeah.
LA hands or whatever. But yeah, there's definitely the point. And I think the best response for this going forward is they point to you, you're gonna point right back at them.
Yeah, are you supposed to touch? Like, well, I don't get it. It's so odd.
Have a little ET moment and just kind of touch fingers, or whatever visual this makes.
I know.
Yeah. Some Chinese finger traps.
Yeah.
And that is funny. That's like the universal sign for if you don't know this guy, Google him because I'm with somebody cool. You know?
Yeah. Like that. You're like, what? What does that even do? I don't get it. Or they like angry face. Like then, like it's okay to smile that you're taking a photo with anyone. It's always like, I don't know. Okay. Come on, Ryan. Football.
The question on football? No, I actually have a question not related to football. Yeah. So I saw that you also have a passion for doing like card tricks and magic, and someone that also has pulled out a deck of cards at a party or two. What's your best card trick?
I mean, to say that I'm card trick guy is, I think, a bit of an over exaggeration. This was like a phase in like 4th or 5th grade when I was learning I don't know, the double card pickup or whatever you call it, and then you can kind of do the 3-card Monty. And then you get one of those. I mean, I don't know if there's like a magician's guild, like or Arrested Development, that's going to get mad at me for like explaining this. But some of the trick decks that help you like pull cards out or like can show you all one card, and then you flip it around, and then it's all different cards except for that one person. So I don't know. It was a phase that I like got into a little bit, and haven't kept up on my skills as much as I maybe should have.
That was like one of the greatest cell phones ever. I was like, "Hey, do you like magic like me?" And you're like, "Yeah, in the 4th grade, I was into that."
I'm not a weirdo.
I was just gonna be like, Ryan's like, "Yeah, me neither, man. I haven't done it."
Yeah, actually, I don't know.
But there's something inherently awesome when you see like an actual magician come do like cool stuff, and you're just like, "All right, that's awesome." So there's. Yeah, I don't know. If I had more time to dedicate it, I could definitely, start getting back into it.
I'm going to take it up with the Brown Athletic, whoever was in charge of that website, and they had put that as your hobby because.
Yeah, well, they also had me listed at like 310 pounds for about 5 years, and then every other news organization would then go to the Brown listing and pick it up, and so then they would all just pick it up from each other. So for my first like 4 years in the NFL, I was 310 pounds, and I was nowhere near there. I was like 272 to 267. So I don't know. That might not be the most reliable source.
I guess we're finding that out. You named actually 2 more even before I got to this question of you mentioned Leonard Floyd and Taylor Epp, 2 guys with Bills and Rams connection. I'm going to name just 4 players that you've played with that I just want to like just right off the top of your head, say whatever comes to mind about these guys. Von Miller.
Hilarious. He was, when we signed him, he was in the locker next to me, and he just like always rolls in with his cowboy hats and his chains on, and just in a good attitude, good perspective on life, just really, really good. And then would come in and just be like, all right, who wants to play a round of golf at Sherwood, and just hook everybody up with like a $700 round of golf, and then just go like crush some beers and hang back in a group of 5. And the caddies are like, it's 4. He's like, yeah, but like I'm also Von Miller, so we're just gonna like kind of roll through. So very really, really good dude.
Fingers crossed, maybe there's still a reunion there, who knows. What about Trey White? Did you play with Trey White long enough to? I know he wasn't there long.
Oh yeah, he wasn't here that long, and he was dealing with like some injury, and we had injuries at the cornerback position too, so didn't get a ton of time to like spend one on one with him. But he seemed like he was a fun part of that room, and DB rooms in the NFL are always like really really fun guys to be around. So he fit in really well.
One of the funniest guys here when he was here, just fit in so good, and I'm just so sad about how his career kind of really has fallen because of mostly injuries at a young age. Matt Stafford.
Yeah, just awesome. Like he's got like the Georgia Southern charm to him. I think like his first day in the building, and at this time it was like the OTAs in between my P squad year and my actual year, so I hadn't actually made a roster yet. And he comes, introduces himself like, I'm Matthew Stafford, and I'm obviously like, yeah, like I know, and just really, really good. Like, got great command, has like the respect of everybody in the locker room, and smart player, tough as nails. Had a lot of fun, playing with him over the last couple of years, and I think he found kind of a perfect fit and a perfect home in Los Angeles.
So we're a fantasy football podcast. Actually, first, I know we're doing a lot of just getting to know you and Bill stuff today, but we are the nationally known as being the Puka Nakua fantasy podcast. We're huge on Puka. What are your thoughts on Puka as just a person? And we're big fans here.
Yeah, I think all the clips that you see of him, that's exactly who he is all the time. He's super high energy, like high motor guy. Never seen him have like a down day. He just like wants to be, an igniter, wants to be the guy who's like bringing energy to practice and busting people's balls in the locker room. Really, really fun, really fun guy to have like around and on the plane trips. So, kind of what you see is what you get. And, he's going to be a rock star on the field, and he's going to kind of be that same sort of big personality all around.
Thank you for that. Is there anybody have one like, if you guys have one that you really want to ask, go ahead, but we should move on to the next segment unless you guys got something you really want to ask them.
I guess my only weird thing is just, what was your favorite Halloween costume you've ever done?
Ooh, that's a tough one. Because like Halloween's always like happened in football season, and I unfortunately was super lame growing up because I was like, football all the time.
Yeah.
So I mean, I don't know. I went as a cow one year in college. I think I would wear my Team Canada black Olympic hockey jersey, like their alternates. I wore that a couple years, which is like the most classic. Hey, I don't have a Halloween costume, so I'm gonna go ahead and just grab a hockey jersey.
Yeah. So years on, so that's like the equivalent.
yeah. So wish I had a better arsenal of it, but I've had a few Santa costumes go pretty well around Christmas time. It's probably better.
All right.
You want to move on?
Sure.
Nothing.
All right. So in this segment is Everything and Nothing, where I just talk about a little bit of everything in pop culture and also nothing at the same time. So there's some new things, new studies that have come out. This one is interesting. It says men with beards may be more stable romantic partners. This is what a study finds. They found that 414 men aged 18 to 40 had more of a connection with the person when they had facial hair. Was this study done by a man with a beard?
Almost certainly. I don't think my girlfriend would like that study very much, and I literally just shaved this morning. But I have such like an annoying hairline because I get like a really thick neck beard and then just like pencil line thin down the sides and nothing on the cheeks. And I just, for the life of me, I can't like solve that issue. And maybe I got to make a turkey trip at some point and just get them to like poke in all the sides, but. I'm gonna say definitely written by guy with a beard because it just kind of has to.
I'm also thinking what a neck beard with no facial hair looks like.
Yeah, it's frightening is the word I would use.
It's just all Adam's apple.
Yeah.
I was it written by me? Because I think I do think that has some truth. I'm trying to like connect it, on what would make that study feel. I mean, it's not just random, right? They didn't just go ahead. There is got to be some form of reason. I think it could be kind of like similar to my mustache theory when I was rocking the mustache, is that girls look at somebody that rocks something that doesn't look great and they're like, that dude is walking around with some fucking confidence if he could rock that out. And then that is what makes them more attracted. And then, the whole circle of life, really. Ellie, you look like you're following perfectly.
Yeah, no, I was gonna say I think it's more. I think beards are a lot more work to manage than not. So that shows you take a little bit of time when it gets to
That's good.
I want to sound crass here, but puberty. That's when I don't want romance with that person. So I don't know about stability. I just find it to be so odd. And I also think more men have beards and I think most men are stable, right? No.
Out of everything everything we've spit out of our mouths, I think the best thing was the upkeep of a beard shows a little bit of responsibility.
Or the other direction, and something where you have to shave every day, and you well-maintained baby face also plays.
Or that's psycho. That's psycho behavior.
Exactly. Yeah, you just like wake up and be like, not today, neck beard.
Yeah, right. Another study has shown that having a brother boosts mental health and self-esteem. As someone with an older brother and body dysmorphia issues, I don't know if I agree with this study. Also, anyone have a brother who has ruined their life? Anyone?
Well, my brother, when I was young, literally held me down to a couch and made me watch Child's Play, and I had nightmares of Chucky for years after that. So yeah, I'm not sure I agree with that study either. But did Louis do all of these studies actually?
Sister,
I don't go ahead. Mike, you talk.
Yeah, I have an older brother, and kind of the memory that comes to mind is we were on like a camping trip, and my dad goes with me and the two boys early, and then my mom was coming the next day, and as my mom's like pulling up, the like fire is gigantic. My brother has like a flaming stick, and he like sticks it like right next to my eye, and my mom just rolls into the campfire, kind of like that meme in Community where Donald Glover like walks into the house and like everything's on fire. It was literally her like walking into the campsite, just being like, who is in charge here, and why is like the two boys like stabbing each other with fire sticks? So I don't know if that caused whatever that caused in me, but I don't know. Like, I don't know. I feel like it makes you grow up tough.
Yeah. Self-esteem is good, right? You have thicker skin.
The only brother I have was born a week before me with my father's mistress, so I don't really have a lot to go on here. met him 18 years later at a bar. We kind of hung out, high-fived, had a shot. Looks a lot like me. Kind of cool.
The day you grew up, right?
That was the day I grew up.
What is that? What is like when your parents someone has a mistress and then it's not an Irish twin. What would that be?
Half brother, technically.
Like a
step half brother.
The answer is trauma. Trauma. That's the answer. All right. I'm sorry. Did you have something else?
We're good on that one. It was a slow week. There was, we could talk about Russell Wilson. That's another. I do talk football. We could talk that. You can save that for another time. But we are doing Who is the Idiot? So what we're going to do is I'm going to give you a question, and all three of you will have to convince me of the answer. Of the three answers, I will have to say which one is the most idiotic. Okay. So we're going to go first one. I'm going to ask you guys, Devontae Adams is currently being drafted as a wide receiver 21 in fantasy drafts. With that being said, will the LA Rams have the top 220 fantasy wide receivers next year?
Who you want to start with?
Top
20 fantasy.
Okay.
I feel like I might be a good person to sort of answer this.
Yeah.
You know what? I kind of think so. With Matthew Stafford back there, so I'm obviously biased here. I've spent 5 years there, and like those are still all my guys. And so, to see some of the moves that they've made, with the offensive line, signing back Alaric Jackson and some continuity that they have. I think they brought back Coleman Shelton, who I played with. So, they're going to have a stout O-line. And, I just don't think you can ever discredit, Matthew Stafford. And Sean McVay and just sort of that system, and for them to sort of live in this 11 personnel world and still be able to run the football, it does open up a lot of the pass game because defenses typically have to get a little bit smaller. So it's fun when you have like two guys like that, and I'm sure that they have a really good plan for Devontae and a good plan within the system, and Puka's going to be Puka. So, I think, and you'll have a full season of Tyler Higbee healthy. So I think it's going to be, that offense is going to be a lot of fun. And hopefully, if the, remember last season when the Bills and the Rams played each other, and it was that game that was fireworks. Like, that's just like kind of showing when those two offenses are firing, the types of games that you get and the amount of fun that can be now. At the time, I was glad that the Rams won, and going forward here, I'm going to hope that Josh Allen and the boys and the Western New York and Bills Mafia can get that one.
I tend to think that this only helps Puka in fantasy value, but again, you want to talk about your bias. Like I said, there's not more Puka bias than in this room with me and Ryan. We're both high stakes fantasy players. We've been invested with them since his rookie year, and he's proved to be great. I was a little bit nervous, not that I know Kupp had a down year and stuff, but I was nervous before the Adams signing. I was like, was he going to be able to sustain like true number one numbers without a threat? And I think Adams is almost like the perfect guy to be on the opposite side there. Just from a pure fantasy perspective, I'm still like just a little bit. Mike, you don't have to talk about too much over there, but like, was Rodgers washed or was Adams I don't think Adams is washed as people might have think. I think he had a down year because of, everything going on in New York and such, but I a little bit leery that he holds up to wide receiver 21 where he's going right now, but not enough to that stack is fun, and Stafford's going to always be a monster. He's not given up yet.
Yeah, I have no concerns at all. I looked this up before. What do you think Devontae Adams finished in fantasy points per game among wide receivers last year?
36.
He was 9th.
What?
In half PPR scoring, which is really what we're talking about, mostly underdog, RIP in New York. But, he was wide receiver 9 in points per game. So how is he not going to be another top 20 receiver with him and Puka? Puka was, I think, 4th in points per game as among wide receivers. He gets a quarterback upgrade. And Stafford has already shown to be a kingmaker when it comes to, fantasy assets and able to support multiple viable options at a time. So yeah, I think you got to lock it in.
All right, Allie.
Well, nice.
Call Mike the idiot like you want to.
Okay, so
the guy that was in the locker room. You're like, you know what? I didn't like that.
You know what? Honestly, it's the guy. So in the NFL, it's like I don't know. You have like a $200 limit if you want to play fantasy football or something. And so I don't typically go through all the analytics because the one league that I'm in, it's a $1 per person entry fee with my high school friends. And I just only draft, in the last 5 years, I've just only drafted the Rams starting lineup. And I usually even lose to the bye week. I lose, whoever's playing me, it's like a second bye week. And it's just kind of my donation to the pot. But it's still something I, like doing. So this year, I got to draft all the Bills players.
Good answer. You'll get some great players on it. But I will say, Mike, since you literally released the word, said Coleman Shelton, who I played with, that gives you some points. Ryan, I love that you answered a question with a question, but I like that you were like, guess where he was ranked. So this round, sorry, Lou, you are the idiot for this one. Question number 2. We 2 out of 3 of you know how I feel about this player. Aaron Rodgers will lead the Pittsburgh Steelers to the playoffs. True or false?
Who do you want to start with?
Ryan, do you want to go first?
Yeah, that's false. This was the if you gave me like 100 questions and I had to pick out the one that Lou drafted, I would know this is one that he wants to set up because I already know what his answer is going to be. He's going to be the sneaky, oh yeah, I kind of like this move for the Steelers. He's already saying that, but listen, I think the Steelers are going to be what they've been for the last however many years post Roethlisberger, which is, an average to slightly above average team that has a chance to make the playoffs and really nothing more. I don't think it's a good chance. I don't see it happening. I think they're going to be an 8 or 9 win team. Could they squeak into the playoffs? Sure, but no, I'm not. I don't see it. I don't see the vision.
Okay. Mike, do you want to go?
Okay.
Yeah, I have a tough time because I've seen teams that I thought I was really high on, not get in, and mainly Rams in 22 before everybody got hurt, and then they're obviously in a tough division. AFC is loaded with quarterbacks, so it's going to be hard if he does land there. He's got an uphill battle to climb, but it's a good organization. Tomlin's obviously awesome. DK Metcalf's going to be over there, so they just have a good enough roster and good enough talent all around that. It's still the NFL. These guys are all still like professionals of what they do. They're really, really good, but they've got a really, really tall task to handle. Again, with the AFC North specifically being what it is, it's a tall task, but I'm not going to say that I'm not going to say either way. And I'm going to go ahead and self-proclaim idiot here because I'm not just going to badmouth, other teammates because these are like bulletin board material and things that end up, elsewhere. So all I'm going to say is that if he lands up there, he definitely can, and he's definitely, a good enough quarterback. I mean, it's still Aaron Rodgers who we're talking about here. Like he's still one of the premier quarterbacks all time in the NFL.
All right, Lou, you know what you should do here.
I know what I should do because I know you can't stand him and I know what I should say. But listen, as someone who partakes in some mind-altering drugs myself, it does convince you that you can do things you haven't been able to do since your 20s. Okay. And I just, here's my thing. And I know I don't want to go so far, but I do think he's washed. I think he's strong. But at the end of the day, they haven't been much better than Aaron Rodgers at this age at quarterback. When was the last time they would be better than 42-year-old Aaron Rodgers at quarterback? It hasn't been the last couple of years. It wasn't last year of Roethlisberger. It probably wasn't like the second to last year of Roethlisberger. He's probably the best quarterback that they've put in play in the last 6-7 years. And they've made the playoffs all the other years mostly, right? Like they missed months. So at the end of the day, Mike Tomlin just runs a good organization, a good team. They play strong defense. The DK Metcalf move is, I think, huge for a guy like Rodgers. He's got, if Pickens could like just stay under control, and that might get ugly, but whatever. Even without it, Tomlin always finds a way to win. Until he doesn't, I think he could do it with almost anybody at quarterback. So yeah, I mean, this is like Peyton with the Broncos vibes for me. Like, if Rodgers is smart enough to just like run that offense and not try to prove that he's 23 still, I think they easily make the playoffs. I know I'm the idiot.
Well, I was going to say, you know what, Mike, you were close for me because I know you have to, and I know you have to be on the fence, but once you compared Aaron Rodgers, Lou, to Peyton and the Broncos, who played very exceptionally.
That was strong.
But yeah, because I mean, I was all with you on the Mike T runs an amazing organization, but once you compared him to the great Peyton, shit. Can I give it to you, Mike? I'm sorry. You were too.
Yeah.
I just want to say
it out loud. I almost gave it to hey, you don't have to keep the kid gloves on. When we eventually get into this draft, I want real answers here, and we're going to get after each other's picks.
I like it.
Question is so now it's wow, if it's really anyone's could be the idiot. All right. And this is a little bit of an honor to your to Toronto because they are part of Canada.
I know
and
where this is
great
going already.
United Kingdoms. Is Oasis's Wonderwall a pump song in sports? Yes or no? Who wants that first?
What do you have to give out the answer? I think Mike should answer the first because you know what me and Ryan are gonna do.
You guys are gonna know. I'm just going to say this before, just so if you want to lean towards me, Mike. I am. Should I kind of give it away my background with this song?
Sir, I also missed the
Oasis.
question. I missed the question. I heard the Oasis Wonderwall is a blank song, and
Pump
then
Up.
I've been trying to scrap together, keeping a straight face here.
Pump Up song. So when
Pump Up
I
song,
like
got it.
soccer, they do
Yeah.
play it in arenas, and everyone sings along. They have also, not to give you a little pointer, but they have started adding it to Bills games, and I am going to see them in the unmade arena in Toronto and at MetLife. So just saying. Okay. So is Oasis a pump up song in sports? Ryan, do you want to go first?
All right. Listen, we've had some experiences that, since then, right? I've heard it at a sports event, and I can get it. But the question is it a pump up song? And a pump up song is just, I don't think you can call that a pump up song. It can have that effect. And look, I'll take the idiot if you want. I'm going to stand by my opinion. I've said it before and I'll say it again. It doesn't pump you up. It's just like, all right, you hear a good song. Is Sweet Caroline a pump up song? No. They play it at sporting events. It's the same genre, but that doesn't make it a pump up song. So that's my best argument against Wonderwall being a pump up song. It's basically a better version of Sweet Caroline.
Let me take some ease off of Mike here, and you can pick through us.
I'm ready to fire from the hip, but you go first.
Go.
All right. Well, here's what I'm going to say is it depends who you're going to try and pump up. If you ever been to a party and Mr. Brightside comes on and the entire crowd starts going, you hear that opening riff and everybody's like, all right, we're here for like the electric moment that every single person knows what's about to go down, knows the song, knows the words. We're getting fired up. They're playing it at a game. You're not telling me that 100,000 people singing in unison the exact same song and the exact same chorus that they've been singing for 30 years, and everybody knows the words from your 80-year-old grandma to your 3-year-old kid who you're introducing to the game for the first time. The crowd's electric. That's going to bring juice to the players on the field. That's what's going to bring everybody up. You're like, this crowd's rocking with us. You could put on any song. You could put on Twinkle, Twinkle, Little Star. The whole 100,000 people are singing it. That stadium's rocking. That place is getting going. It's absolutely a pump-up song as long as everybody knows the words. And who doesn't know the words to Wonderwall?
Oh God, Allie, clean up in aisle 3. Listen. Here is our point. We did, we're doing our draft here shortly. We did a draft of best pump up songs, and this bitch picked Wonderwall, and we both looked at it like that's not. But then, since we have all been at the same game, same whatever, when Wonderwalls come on, and I'll tell you, we've jammed. So I get that. And we have apologized, but again, I think it's just that fine line of what a pump up song is. Ryan was way more of a dickhead with this one, but I know you got to break a tie. I just don't think it's a pump up song.
All right, that means, though, I would give this to Ryan because he was so anti that. I'm going to say Louis is the biggest idiot.
All right, just so you break the tie. We didn't need a tiebreaker. And in fairness of Mike's time, why don't we skip cats and dogs this week so he doesn't have to? We don't have to do that, and we'll go right into our draft so we can. He's pumped about this. He thinks he's got a whole fucking big board over here. He's ready to go.
I got a big board. I did have 1 point for the dogs point, and I would just like to say it because I was reading. I was like kind of reading through the news, and I was just going to go with fans of Drake. And now you can take that. That's a choose your own adventure because not only does, Drake upset or beat Mizzou, and then you have Stephon Diggs for if you're a fan of Drake May, you can go that route. Or there was I was reading an article today, and like TMZ reported that there was 125 complaints about Kendrick's halftime Super Bowl. So if you're a Drake fan, you're fired up. And in context of that, Rihanna had 100, so it's really only 25 more. But the kicker in this article is it was going through like the shows that have gotten the most complaints by the FCC, and the J-Lo and Shakira one had 1,300 FCC complaints, which, you know, to put that in perspective, that's pretty awesome. So 10 times the amount of people, you know, saw the Kendrick halftime show that was just a big middle finger to Drake and was just like, nope, this is more inappropriate.
That's great. It's really funny that you just mentioned Drake May and Stephon Diggs, because Steph Diggs was going to be my dog. I mean, dude got paid. I on this podcast have been the biggest Steph defender. I feel like I know a lot of people in Buffalo like hate him and, you know, have bad blood. I think Steph is just a competitor. I don't think he never really dragged Josh's name in anything. There was some fired up, but it wasn't like he was like, I can't be here anymore or whatever. I think that one playoff year where things went a little bit awry, not just in for the Bills, but in Josh's personal life. I think, you know, Steph may have taken things a little too personally, whatever. I have nothing but love for Steph as a competitor. I cannot believe he got that contract, to be perfectly honest, but he got paid. And what's better than having Steph play us 2 games a year? Like, bring it on, like bring that rivalry on. That Pats Bills rivalry has died since Brady's been gone, and like things like that, reinvent it. Like this home schedule this year, like last year in the stadium, it's insane. You got the Eagles, Ravens, Chiefs, Bengals. Now you got Steph coming back. Like, man, what a year to have that last game here. And to Mike's point about like Toronto burning to the ground, I was thinking about this today when I looked at that. Like, can you imagine the last game at the Ralph being like an AFC championship game to, you know, win? Like, you don't have to worry about fucking demoing that thing this summer because it will burn to the ground. It will burn to the ground. It gives me goosebumps just thinking about it. So that's funny. I'm sorry. We just did a 10-minute cats and dogs segment.
If you guys are if you're sneaking your dogs in, I'm going to sneak my cat in. My cat of the week. All right. You know, you're not,
Mike, you can't be pissed that we went over time.
I'm fine. We got lots of time.
All right. The cat of the week, all right, is clearly the older brother from White Lotus. If anyone's seen that show.
No spoilers. No spoilers.
All right.
I'm not caught up.
Anything else?
That was going to be my cat as well. Also,
really?
yes. And my question I was going to do for Biggest Loser was, will Drake ever make a comeback? That was going to be my question.
People forget, like, he's still Drake, and like everything that he's touched his entire career has turned to gold. So
thanks for not saying an underage person. Thank you.
Yes, but he's that's tough. But yeah, no, he's gonna put out like an album at some point. It's gonna be a banger. He's gonna put out I don't know, like, you know, some album that everybody's just gonna be like, all right, like, we kind of forgot it's still Drake. He still makes club hits. Yeah.
All right, we've got a lot of opinions, so let's do our big draft, which is the best television episodes of all time. Again, if you have just seen The White Lotus and you are now afraid, I also did a brother fact for that reason. If you have seen that episode, now I
gotta go. Now after this podcast, I gotta watch 5 episodes to catch up because
you're gonna take 4 showers and then just right. 2 more episodes left. So Louis, would you please tell us?
Let me do the order here. All right, we got Ryan Mura number 1, Allie number 2, Mike number 3, and I will be 4. And then the turn, we'll do a snake draft. We'll go through 4 rounds, and let's do this. It'll be fun. Ryan, number 1 pick. What do you got?
All right. Well, unlike Mike, I only have 4 episodes on my list. I hope I need to get all 4 of these.
I've got my big board. Yeah.
That looks like me prepping for fantasy football drafts. So my first pick in the best episodes of TV draft is the dinner party episode from The Office. I think it's a worthy first pick. It's, you know, right on the board. That's good. I like to see that. You know, might not be everyone's 101, but for a while. I'm not sure anymore if it's still my favorite, comedy sitcom of all time, but like it's a good show. And I think of all the episodes, for that show, that's probably the best one. So there's my first pick.
Yeah, I would just say the Office catalog is just so deep that there's value in The Office in
True.
later rounds. So, like, I mean, there's 10 like goated episodes from The Office, and unfortunately, Ryan, I don't know if that's 1-1 worthy.
No, it's not. This is like I'm like Jerry Jones taking Ezekiel Elliott third overall.
That's fine.
Not really understanding positional value here, Jerry.
But
All right. So my one is it's very odd, but it's my favorite show of all times. I don't think it competes with anything else, but it's Arrested Development and it's Motherboy XXX. And that is when Carl Weathers shows up. There is a Motherboy competition. Michael knows that Buster can't win because he's one-handed now. But Operation Hot Mother, it's just amazing. Lucille and Buster together, a perfect mother-son duo, but Motherboy XXX.
That's good.
Arrested Development doesn't get enough love. That show rocks.
Did you like the new stuff on Netflix, or were you more of an original?
Yeah, like I did, and but like I mean, top to bottom, like even I feel like if you just listen to like Will Arnett or everybody like talk about the show, that like all the comedians, that's like your favorite comedian's favorite show.
Yeah.
It is. It was just so well written and so funny. All right.
Mike, development show. Go on, Lou.
No, it's Mike. Mike's up.
Oh, Mike. Let's go, Mike.
All right. We have to go Thrones, and I'm taking Battle of the Bastards. That episode is like right, and one of my friends kind of turned me on to this, where if you don't have time for like a full sit down movie, but you want like a cinematic masterpiece and you've got like an hour and 20-ish, I'll just throw that episode on and just watch everything sort of ensue. And it's just, I mean, it's amazing. And I didn't watch it live. I was like still catching up to Thrones as it kind of came out. And it just like was one of those things where after I had been binging for a while and I paused it like when it was over and I just stood up and I just like stared at the wall for a while. I was like, that was one of the greatest television episodes I think I've ever seen. That was like a full blown cinema. Like you could release that in theaters and I would go see it in IMAX.
I like that there, and to your point about the Office, I think that there's probably 5 episodes of GOT that should have been considered somewhere in this.
Yeah.
And I do have one higher than that one. I don't think I think I'll wait a little bit on that. This might be recency bias, and I hate being like this, and I really thought about this, but the season finale of season 2 of Severance was the best television episode I've ever seen ever. It is, and again, no spoilers, but that show altogether has been nothing but just beautifully shot, wonderfully acted. It's one of the most unique things I've ever seen on television. We are 2 seasons in, and I'm not really sure what's going on, but it's the only show that for 2 years I could be like, what the fuck is this about? But also, this is awesome, And I'm still kind of shook. Season 2 finale was last Friday? So not too many days ago, but it changed the way that I'll watch that show. I loved it. So that's my last pick in first round, and then the 2-1. Man, I know I don't have to worry about anybody on this one, but I'm going to take it here because it is George's death on Grey's Anatomy. The when he like does the 007 in Meredith's hand, and you find out it's George. That's like the biggest swerve. Maybe I'm just an idiot, but I feel like that was like the biggest swerve in television. Where I mean, I remember like jumping up out of my couch and being like, "No, not George!" A couple tears. But that was a really sad show and amazing though. You thought Izzy might have been dead that episode too. She turned out to be alive, but very, very emotional. Sometimes I like to feel right around here. Get out of here. Mike, in case anybody was wondering. Mike, back to you.
Yeah. It's a good pick. I actually haven't seen Grizz, so unfortunately, don't have a. But I know like the historical context of everything, and even for a show I haven't seen, like I feel like I knew about that moment. Um, but let's see. God, I got like a deep board still. And I'm trying to decide if I want to pick with my heart or I don't know if there's like a graphic that comes out, but
There will be a poll.
all right. Well, geez. No, I can get that later. All right. You know what? There's I'm gonna go in the cartoon world. I'm gonna take a South Park episode, and it's my favorite South Park episode, and it's Scott Tenorman Must Die.
Yes.
The episode and Cartman just feeding him his parents into the chili. It's one of the funniest cartoons I've ever seen, and just how dark. And it was like the beginning of Cartman. It was the beginning of like South Park, just being like, all right, Cartman is literally the spawn of Satan, and there is no limit to what he will do. It's so good. And I was a little young when that came out. And I'm pretty sure my older brother like showed it to me at way too young of an age, and I was like on the ground crying, laughing. And so that episode, like it, not only is it my favorite South Park episode, but it also just holds like a special part for me. So I gotta have it on my graphic. I'm taking it with my pick.
Classic. Long live South Park is so good. And I love that South Park over Family Guy, also interesting pick. So mine is going to be my pick number 2 is do I have to say the name of the episode or I can describe it? Is it?
You can describe it.
Describe it.
Yeah,
So it's the Simpsons episode where Lisa, it's a dream sequence, and it's Homer eats like the hot pepper and he has to put the wax in his stomach. But Lisa has they're at a carnival, and Lisa has a fiance, and it's like Lisa in the future, and she has this British guy, and he comes and meets his her family, the Simpsons, and they're obviously trash, and it just reminds me a lot of my life, and whenever anyone has met certain members, not all some of my members of my family are just amazing humans, but some are questionable. So I love that episode. It was always very, very great.
You're gonna have to.
I can't wait to
find
see
that
Louis
episode.
describe that in a poll.
Like you're in that poll. I'm gonna be like, Ellie said some stupid. Ellie said some stupid Simpsons episode.
I don't want you
gonna
to
be the caption.
don't go back and listen to this part. Just do it based on memory. See if you can pick any of the words that she just said. Something about British fiance. Okay, me for 2, right?
Yes.
All right. I'm glad this one is still here. I thought there was a chance it could be picked because the other ones that I have are like niche ones that would never get picked. So that's why I was confident writing only 4. But my next pick is the only one that I thought might have gotten sniped. And that's the Palestinian chicken episode from Curb Your Enthusiasm. Again, I also think Curb is another one. There's a deep catalog. You could pick 10 or more episodes that are good. But that one is just so iconic. So good. And yeah, it's one of the greatest shows of all time, in my opinion. Speaking of one of the greatest shows, this was only a great show for 1 season, in my opinion. And I'd love to draft the entire season if I could, but I don't think Louis is going to let me do that. But the first season of True Detective, I'd like to draft that. I'll just pick the finale because that finale was really good. Most of my picks are, I think 3 out of my 4 picks are going to be comedy, but like this is just one of those shows that I loved that first season. It was just so gripping. It's so good.
True Detective is only 1 season. The other seasons don't exist. Like that. It's the season number 1, and the shootout is like that. That was if I had to get the Scott Tenorman one, but if it wasn't going to be the South Park one, I was going True Detective.
All right.
Yeah, that was, and you nailed it too. Like all the other seasons, I think might have been decent. Like if they weren't following the True Detective, season, if they were just their own show, but nothing was living up to that first season, and they obviously didn't, and it kind of died pretty quickly for me.
All right.
Ellie.
This one was a little weird in Alaska. Okay, so my third pick is another fantastic show, at least in my opinion, is The Sopranos, season 5, episode 12, long-term parking. And this is the episode where the death of Adriana, Christopher, who is my dog's middle name, is named after this Christopher, finds out that she is an FBI informant, and it is a very wild and dark episode, but so good. Just well written, well acted, and long-term parking. The Sopranos.
Not bad.
Yeah, I mean that's great value there too, and I feel like just there's one other like heavy hitter show out there that we haven't taken. Like Curb just got taken, Sopranos just got taken. I unfortunately can't take the last heavy hitter show because I think I'm the only person in the world who hasn't seen it. So hopefully one of you guys do, and maybe you know what I'm talking about. But all right, this is tough. All right, I got to do it. It's Entourage season 4, episode 1, The Welcome to the Jungle. It's the Medellin like documentary thing, and it's Ian Billy Walsh. Billy Walsh is just like losing his mind, and he's making all the rules that like nobody can have sex on set, and like the entire movie is just going absolutely foobarred. And that episode of just watching Billy Walsh and E go at each other and crack, and then you get the Ari Gold cameos over the phone, and yeah, it's just and that's when like Entourage, like to me at least, it was like, all right, we're taking this to like another gear, and it's like my favorite. I don't know, bored on a Sunday, I'm just gonna rip like an episode of Entourage.
Yeah, it's my favorite rewatch. I've probably have watched the whole series probably 4 or 5 times over. And I'll just start it and then I'll just get hooked where I'm like, oh yeah, this is it. It will be bedtime, background music mostly, and I'll fall asleep during most episodes. But for a month straight, that's all I'll be going to watching while I go to sleep. That's a great choice. I wonder. For your Game of Thrones one, I was like, oh, I definitely have a better one in Game of Thrones. And then Allie, what did you just have, Allie? The Sopranos, I had a top one, a better one in that. But Entourage, I think you might have nailed that. I think that might be the best Entourage episode. I'm going here. Again, I don't want to make this all about just shocking moments, but this was the best season of the show too. Season 4 of Dexter was the best season of Dexter by far, and the finale of that when the Trinity killer and he kills, he finds Rita in the bathtub dead when he comes in, was like, holy shit, the season was over. It was like even an overrun, it was like Showtime. It was like an hour and 2 minutes. They did it on purpose, so you just thought it was just the show was over, the season was over, and then he finds that last, like, oh, that was just so holy shit. So that one deserves to be on here. Because we're a comedy podcast, I'm going to switch one that I have over this, and I'm going to do a little the Rick James Chappelle show.
I was hoping to get it.
Needs to be on here. It absolutely has to be on this list. It is the most brilliant 45 minutes of sketch comedy that's that it beats any SNL, anything, whatever. It will be people that were not born will be saying I'm Rick James bitch in 20 years. It just that masterclass and the best comedian, top 3 comedian of all time needs to be represented here on this podcast. I'm in with that to finish up.
Are we in the wrap round, or did I get lost in the snake?
We are in the wrap round. Yeah, your last pick.
Yep. All right. Shoot, I'm kind of stuck between 2, both in the same camp.
We do some honorable mentions after. You could get some things out of your system if you need to. But
all right. I'm going to do it. I'm going to stay true. I'm going to stay true to the football world, and we have to have an episode of Hard Knocks on here. I'm going 2010. It's with the Jets, and it's Rex Ryan in his interview, or he's doing like the meeting at the end, and he's just going up about. I rewatched the clip today because I've always just like remembered. It's so funny. He's up there. It's like the leadership. It can't come from me. Let's go eat a goddamn snack. And it's one of the funniest, like the level of intensity of just let's go eat a snack. It's so good. Have to have a Hard Knocks moment on here. And that's like 2010. I'm watching Hard Knocks just being like, all right, the NFL is so cool. I'm still like holding it in such like high regard. It's just such like a cool thing to see the inside weeds. And that was back when Hard Knocks could really get the cameras and really like get in and see everything. So Got to take a Hard Knocks, and I took that just because it's it was the first moment that came to mind for me.
The
Amazing.
funniest part of that is that like everybody, like nobody laughed. Like they just like got up and they were like, "All right, we're going to get a fucking snack right now."
What Rex is such a good personality, man. Like, I mean, he was here obviously for what was that, about 4 or 5 years. We loved him here. He's definitely a different character. A quick story: we had his brother. Was it Rob? Right, Rob Bryan was a defensive coach under Rex when he was here, and when they got fired and they left. I own a home improvement company, and Rob called me, said, "Hey, you do drywall work, whatever." And yeah, sure. He goes, "I just got some repairs. I went over there for an estimate." And there was a room that just had 4 fists holes through his. He needed a repair, and I just imagine just him and Rex just in there just being so pissed after a game, but so great.
I didn't know that story.
Oh yeah, he was leasing the place, and had they were leaving, and he had to fix it up before he left. But yeah, great guy. He was very he didn't try to hide from it. He wasn't like, "Oh man, someone hit this with a baseball." He goes, "Yeah, and losing sucks," type of thing. But yeah, good fun story about the Ryans.
I always love the picture of his wife on his desk with her feet out of the car. Like that was a zoomed in photo that we all saw. Amazing. Another great season of Hard Knocks was the Pittsburgh Penguins. That was a great season too. But so my final pick. Is I'm going to say this is the puffy shirt episode of Seinfeld. You could do so many Seinfeld episodes as a comedian. It's the best. I have worked with Jerry Seinfeld. What a cool guy. But I mean, you can make up a story and be like, it's like that episode of Seinfeld, and you just assume that it's an episode of Seinfeld. But so many to pick from, but puffy shirt. It's hard to wear a white long sleeve shirt in public, not thinking you look like a pirate.
Ryan.
Final.
Is Ryan frozen? I think he's frozen.
That's at all times.
That's here. I'll remove him maybe.
I hit
Ryan's back.
there you
go. Now you're on mute.
But your eyes are moving. This is the magic trick
about
talking about. There you go.
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay. All right, we're struggling. Yeah, a little bit. You're a little behind.
You're good. Just
no.
Oh, Ryan. No, you're good. Is it working? Are you speaking?
Is that? Am I back now? Can you guys hear me?
We can hear you. Yeah.
Oh man, this is so bad. All right, sorry. I'll just quickly give my pick. It's such a bad pick. It doesn't deserve all this like buildup. It's already going to be made worse by the fact that I'm glitching out. But I'm picking the show Tires on Netflix with Shane Gillis. It's such a funny show. It's so underrated. I'll pick the bikini. It's on there. Yes,
yeah, it's on there.
Oh man,
yeah.
My guy.
It's so good.
Listen, it is so underrated, and the bikini car wash episode is like laugh out loud funny when like it's just so good. I mean the shipping containers, and I won't give it away, but if you haven't seen it yet, watch it. In the second season, out.
Yeah,
I love how you're like, I won't give away this raunchy comedy sitcom. Like, it's got a plot to it.
No spoilers in this.
Yeah. That's great. All right, I'll go through a couple of my honorable mentions. Everybody else wants to love it. The GOT thing. My number one GOT is Red Wedding.
Yeah, I was stuck between the two.
That would have been mine. My top Sopranos one was Paulie and Christopher when they're in the woods and they get lost in the woods. Yeah. Love that episode. Yeah. I'm a big Friends guy. I know corny, and it has not translated over the years as much, but the Ross is fine episode where he's like, I'm fine, when he finds out Rachel and Joey are a thing, and he tries to do them great. And then Negan's introduction to The Walking Dead. Walking Dead was a tough one for me, deciding which one, but Negan was like one of my favorite characters ever, and when he was introduced to The Walking Dead, that's great. Mike, I want to go to you for your list next, because I also want to know what you referred to a show that we hadn't hit yet. And
yeah, well, No, we didn't take Breaking Bad, and I haven't seen it. And like I feel like that's always like that upper echelon of shows. And but it's the one show, like everybody's got that one thing, that one movie that they haven't seen, and mine's Breaking Bad. So I need to do it at some point. But yeah, we miss Breaking Bad, The Office, deep catalog. The CPR episode with Dwight taking the dummy off. The basketball one with Stanley is just so good. Personal one, honorable mention is the show Sherlock, the BBC one. That's got that always is awesome. And the end of season 2 where Sherlock like dies. Clarkson's Farm. It's like Jeremy Clarkson's like farm show on Prime Video. I figured that one that's probably fine for an honorable mention. White Collar's good. I had Tires on there. The Last Dance. I don't know. We missed The Last Dance, but that definitely slaps. I don't know if this would have counted or gotten vetoed, but if like any of the 30 for 30s, if those would have counted as individual episodes, like there's the good ones. You could do the U, or there's the OJ one. There's like a million 30 for 30s that would have been good. And the Jimmy Neutron and Fairly Odd Parents crossover episode always plays. So I figured I'd be safe, but I figured I had to mention it anyways.
That's awesome. Allie, any? Sure.
Yeah, I mean, the entire catalog of Sex and the City, 30 Rock, there's all that stuff. I was a big Rugrats kid growing up, and the episode where Chucky swallows a watermelon and they go into his belly, and that was good. And then I didn't do this one because I didn't want to kill boners, but there's a great Star Trek Generation episode where it's called The Game, and then they had this like headset, and then everyone's trying to we lost 400 viewers.
Instantly lost them.
Okay. But yeah, there's a ton.
Rye, you have any that you
I
missed
told you
out
I
on?
only had 4 on my list.
Oh
but
yeah,
it
you
did
only
make
had a
me
4.
think
That
of
was
a couple.
You got all 4.
Others
Monorail
during
episode of Simpsons.
The Leap Day episode of 30 Rock is always so good. The Leap Day Williams, yeah.
So good. Well, Mike, thank you so much for joining us on Analytics Are for the Nerds. Thank you for being here. Thank you for making this fun. And we really can't wait to see you on the field this season. Everyone, thank you for listening. Please like and subscribe. This is Analytics Are for the Nerds, and we will see you next week. Thanks.
Thank you, guys. That was